And let's kind of go right into the questions here.
Thanks so much for having us. I appreciate it.
Yes. With what is your story, your resume, and how did you get to here?
Yeah, man, I actually had kind of a weird story. Before all of the health and wellness I've been doing, I was actually in television, broadcast television. I worked for ESPN and Fox Sports for about 4 years, and I ended up as a crew manager at Fox Sports. I ended up doing the Super Bowl in 2021. So really heavy into sports, and I thought I'd always be in sports broadcasting. Long story short, when I was in college on the East Coast, I was able to do what I wanted to do. I was able to, direct and produce broadcasts, and I was able to, be involved in what I wanted to be involved. I moved to LA in hopes to continue my career and keep it going. And in LA, it's a whole different ball game. And, I was a child in Los Angeles, fresh out of college, I'm a child, and, no one's going to let me touch their project. So it ended up, I really wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. I got into crewing as a way just to be in Fox and be in the network. And I really liked what I did, but by the time the Super Bowl happened, I was so all in on this, and then they laid us off for COVID. And it was kind of a long few months of reflection, for better, for worse. And I was like, I'm not really happy, with what I'm doing. I don't love it. But after that few month layoff, they actually asked if I would come back with a lot of other employees for the college football season. I said, absolutely. I'm still doing this. I'm still happy to do it. They changed COVID changed so much about how we ended up doing sports. And the short version of this is that it was tough, and we worked a lot of extra hours. And, at the end of this season, I was always a contractor with Fox. So at the end of the seasons, I would get laid off and rehired for a new contract. And at the end of this particular season, they were kind of like, we're going to lay you off. And actually, we don't really have a contract for you right now because sports is so different and so weird. Good luck. And I was like, well, I can't. I'm already fed up with this career. I'm already fed up with what I'm doing. I'm already working too much. I'm already having to, to do all these things I don't want to do. And now you're saying I don't even have a job anymore. I can't have healthcare. I can't have benefits because I'm a contractor. And it was like, I'm sick of it, So right when this was happening, my friend connected me with somebody who was in the CBD space, and they wanted to start a new company. They had their own formulation of CBD. And I had tried CBD before. It never really did much for me. I tried this guy's formulation, and it was instant. I felt, more relaxed, more just, I don't know how to describe it, just less stressed, less anxious. And I was like, this is something different. And he was like, well, if you want a job, launching this business with me, we can do this thing together. I have no experience. And I was like, well, I'm not really a businessman. I've been, in Fox doing kind of managerial business for a while, but we can try. And that is what launched USA Medical, the CBD business. That is what got me into being interested in learning about CBD and learning about health. Then I started learning about nutrition and became a nutritionist and became, much more of an expert on some topics here that we talk about at USA Medical. And now we have this very large brand where I'm doing, one-on-one health coaching. I'm doing one-on-one consulting for, nutrition and lifestyle changes. I'm doing work with USA Medical, developing new products and things like vitamin supplements, as well as like mouth tape and sunscreen. So all kinds of stuff we're working on now. But that's kind of the most condensed version of the crazy kind of last 5 years I've had.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand what it is to become an entrepreneur.
It's a whole different thing. Yeah.
It's a whole life change. And I imagine that point when you left Fox, and had that self-reflection, I've had those same things in my career as well. And, you're sitting here as a top performer, you're doing great work or something. And then boom, you catch a layoff or company gets bought out. And the next thing you know, you're kicked to the curb. And,
exactly.
Who are you?
Exactly.
So, but to take the ball in your own hands and go run with it. That's awesome, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, man. Like I said, also I was young and I was very intense and passionate, and I just wanted more. And I told people, I was like, if I could just be on staff, I would crush it. I'd be all in because I was working hard. I was really there to work, and I just wanted one thing, and it never came. And by the end of that, that was my 6th or 7th contract. I was like, listen, I can't be signing contracts every 6 months. This is insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now that is what the entirety of the sports world is. Let me make that clear. Those guys in sports broadcasting are some of the best guys in the world. Like they give you your sports. They give us the sports that we love every week, and they are not guaranteed a job next week. And not guaranteed a job ever, So I really commend those guys, and the ones that actually give their all in their life to this career, like kudos to you.
Yeah. Yeah. In my space, I built a 7-figure recruitment staffing company. And so a lot of that we've had 1099 contractors to do that labor work. And so, and a lot of those guys, you recruit them the right way, it turns into a full-time job for them.
Right.
But I understand what you mean, just job to job.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It wears you out. Now, you had mentioned a couple things like you're developing some sunscreen and some other things. So with what you're doing now, where do you ultimately want to go? Because people get to where they want to go because they know where they want to go. Where do you ultimately want to go with this?
That's a great question. I think it's 100% true that in all of our lives, we should have like a thing we are striving for, a thing that is specific. And a lot of people have like a career or a job title or something that they are striving for. I would say in my life, I'm always striving for more and more time. I just want my time. I want to have less of my time taken up by the things that I have to do. And I want more of my time to do the things that I think are best for me and each other. And especially because I think, we can buy everything. We can literally make money for anything we want in this world. If you want a Maserati, you can figure out how to make the money to go buy one, but we absolutely cannot buy time, right? So it's like, that's the one resource that I think I allocate the most amount of energy towards just getting back.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I got Richard over here. I mean, I'd like to learn a little bit about you while we got you,
Heck yeah.
That's your right-hand man, or?
Richard's awesome. Yeah. We worked together when we were in high school. That's kind of how we first met, working together at Hollister, and he'll tell you more about that. But he ended up being a godsend. When I needed somebody the most is when he called me for a job. Like, I had no idea who to hire, no idea who to help. I mean, I went through a ton of people trying to figure out who would work, who would mesh. And then he literally called me and was like, "Hey, I like a job." And I was like, "I have one for you," So Richard can talk more about that for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. So, like Jake said, we knew each other in high school. We worked at Hollister together, which is so funny thinking back now.
Yeah.
And I had known that he had started this company, and I was back home. I had just graduated from college. I was in the middle of COVID. Everyone knows, jobs just weren't there. Things weren't lining up, especially, and I was a recent college graduate. And so I tried a corporate job, and I was actually a contractor for that as well, funnily enough. And my contract kind of was up, and I was looking for something, and I just called Jake because I had seen, his at this point, I think his social media was starting to really blow up. And I was like, "Yo, man, like, are you hiring?"
Yeah.
I'll do anything at this point, right? And he's like, "Yeah, I really need someone." And I had loved the product. I had used it before on my knee. I had a skiing injury, and so I knew what he stood for was real, and it was good, and
Yeah.
it was a good thing. And so when I called him, we worked out some things, and I flew out to Los Angeles a couple times to help out with the company and some inventory, and then it just from there it kind of grew into what it is today. And I'm here full time now, and we're running this
Awesome.
company, and it's the rest is history.
Man, that's so good. Whenever you can get, one of your old coworkers on board, you know what they're
Right.
made of, and you know how well you mesh with them. That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I started a business with some old college buddies, but it's a little different when you worked with these people. You know what they're made of than if they're just your buddy.
Exactly.
Right.
But so with that, speaking on that, what layers did you have to reveal to become who you are now?
I mean, I feel like a totally different person every 6 months. I think And that's like me as like, I think an entrepreneur and as a businessman and like as, someone really trying to grow. And I'm sure Richard would feel the same way now working with me and kind of being involved in what we're doing. But like, you can, a quote that I've had on my Facebook profile since I was like 12 is like, you can either grow in life or be comfortable, never both. And I've always thought that to be true. If I'm ever comfortable, that's great. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with being comfortable. But if I'm comfortable, I'm not growing. If I'm uncomfortable, I'm growing, right? So that's kind of how I see most of life. And, I've tried to stay in discomfort for a long time, especially because the more you make discomfort the focus, the more just kind of existence becomes comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Like if you start your day with a cold shower, that's the most uncomfortable thing you could possibly do. I guarantee it in the morning. But the moment you're done with that cold shower, you're like, woo, let's do it. Let's get the day going, right? Because it's way easier. So I think, I am still trying to peel off layers and figure out more of myself. But the big thing that I had to realize is that nobody knows what's going on. Nobody has any clue what's going on, right? With anything. I don't mean that in a scary sense, but just with anything. We are living things on Earth. That's about the most we know, right? And it's like, from there, it's like, okay, well, I'm happy to hear advice and take people's feedback and take criticism. But at the end of the day, you have to be the one to decide what is right and wrong in your own life. And you really have to be the one to go after what you think is right. And of course, we should base right and wrong on what we know and what we understand about around the world. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to go after and try to seek truth and seek what's right like you. So for me, it was just becoming someone that seeks truth and seeks what is right.
Yeah.
Richard?
I think for me, man, I'm peeling back layers all the time. Like I think moving to Los Angeles was a huge like, all right, I got to figure this out now. I think I'm becoming a new person every month, truly at this point. Which isn't a bad thing. I always want to be constantly evolving and changing, and I'm finding flaws of mine that I didn't really maybe know existed, and figuring out how to fix them. And I'm finding strengths that maybe I didn't know existed, and figuring out how to capitalize. And like, so every day, every week, every month, if I'm constantly evolving, and like Jake said, make yourself a little uncomfortable every day. I truly believe in that. That's important because I want to grow and continue to peel back layers. So.
Yeah, I've always taken the hard road. So whether it was in college taking the tougher class, or whether it's, taking on the most difficult jobs that a company has to offer, I was in there, and just a life of uncomfortableness makes the day-to-day so much easier.
Absolutely.
And you're almost a superhuman compared to others if you're doing this, because no one else is, right?
Yeah, I think there's a layer of like, people think that everyone's the same. Like we all think everyone's the same. Like we really do, because we can only imagine our own existence. I can't imagine at all what your or Richard's existence is like at all. So it's like we all are like, oh, people must be like me. When in reality, we're all so drastically different that until you start like going after things, you don't realize how much other people are not doing the things that you think are just happening or existing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And you find that out in business, right?
Yeah. Business is a whole different thing.
Business is life amplified. I shared a quote. I made that quote.
I like that.
I thought it was pretty good.
I like that. It's good.
Let's discuss some of your most challenging trials and tribulations in life.
Yeah. I mean, I think business is challenging every day.
There you
go. I think the things that like we think are big deals when we're like in high school or in college, and like things that are like literally world shattering, right? The things that, oh man, I'm going to die today. This is like my whole life, right? Those become like little minnows in the pond of problems, right? It's like the things that make us feel the most overwhelmed are very, very small when you start to actually put life as a scale and perspective. And I think, even the things that I complained about at Fox, the things I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm working so much. I'm working so hard. Oh, they're driving, I was working hard, but compared to what I'm doing now, it's like I quit my 9 to 5 to work 24/7. You know what I mean? Like it's I'm really working a lot harder now. So it's just it's all relative. The most challenging things I think are the days when it seems like it's all going to fall apart, and the days where it seems like it's just completely over with. I think a quick example is like, in business, money's always the driving factor, right? No matter how much you like what you're doing or how much people like what you're doing, you have to have money in your bank account in order to make next month happen. And this year in particular, kind of just has been just from the start of this year into the last couple months, it was a bit of a drought, and that is seen in other sectors as well. I'm not just, complaining for my own business, but
it's everywhere.
Right. And, I think big businesses have no problems laying off 9,000 employees, fixing the budget. We're done. I don't have 9,000 employees to lay off, nor would I want to, right? So at this point, it's like we only have so much operating capital that is what we need to keep moving this thing forward, especially when it comes to launching new products. I mean, I'm buying large quantities of inventory that are not sold yet, right? So it's a different beast in business, and I think the most challenging days are where it seems like the bank account's empty. But I think those are the days where it's like we just start rocking and get back to Hollister sales days, and like, you want to buy some jeans, like just start pushing products. And it's tough because people on social media get so angry when you push a product. Like I'll have a great video and someone will comment, be like, hey, this guy's actually a fraud, he's selling stuff. I'm like, well, okay, that's not mutually exclusive, right? I can be saying real things and also selling things, because in order for me to do what I do for you for free, somebody has to fund me doing those things, right? So it's just, people hate small business right now. Like, I think that's something I've learned. People love to buy from Amazon, buy from Walmart. They love it. They hate small business with a passion. So I don't know. That's where I'm at right now. That's
I was looking at your site earlier. It looks like you got, a couple days shipping, so
I've tried everything to be like, just like Amazon. We do the same shipping. We do the same reviews. We do this. Because people love Amazon. That's how it's what's going on. So I've tried to really mirror that.
Have you thought about putting products on there?
We have our vitamins, but we're not allowed to sell anything that has hemp in it. That's been the biggest struggle, is that anything with hemp cannot be on Amazon. And a lot of our products involve hemp because I think it's so powerful, and it's, completely legal by every standard in every state. And, at a federal level, everything's legal. But yet Amazon and Google and Facebook, they still really hate hemp. I think this is off topic. I think, the big pharma, people, they spend a lot of money on ads, and they spend a lot of money on stuff. I think CBD and CBG and hemp products are a great alternative to some very heavy hitting pharmaceuticals that cost a lot of money. One of my first viral videos, I just kind of laid out the facts of like, Humira does this and costs, $1,200 a dose. CBD does this and costs $1 a dose, right? And that, I think, is just a huge disparity. And that's kind of why Google and Amazon and Facebook and everyone are kind of keeping hemp away. But that's
now, so do you guys have like an affiliate program?
Yeah, we do. We have an affiliate program. Anyone can join. It's been the simplest program since day one. We just split sales 50-50. Anytime someone joins the program and sells, they get half of whatever the total sale is, and we take the rest just to cover the costs. But even getting affiliates is tough, because at this point there are so many CBD companies in the market. It's hard to like prove why you're better. I mean, we have literal lab tests that show we're better and show that we have, more potency, less crap in it, but it's just tough. It's the world we're in is tough.
Yeah. Now, what about ClickBank or Rakuten?
ClickBank doesn't like hemp products. We've tried with ClickBank. We need to get back on it and put some more into it. But when I say me and Richard are doing the bulk of our day-to-day work. Good. We have some auxiliary employees, obviously, but like the bulk of work happens here at the headquarters, at my apartment. So it's like, we don't, we used to have more office space and more things, but we've really tried to condense and just make things lean and make it as easy as possible. So, ClickBank and AWin and all this stuff is great, but, actually having the time to do all that is kind of not really feasible right now.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's go back to some questions here.
We got into the business topics.
Now, when did you become passionate about this focus here?
Yeah. So the moment that I started using CBD, I was like, okay, there's something here that I've never really experienced before. I think
I've heard
had
a
like,
lot of people say that too.
yeah, because
I've never really got into it, but
oh, we'll send you some right after the show.
okay.
But we, you know, I think I tried Xanax like once in my life for anxiety, and it was way too much. I was like, I don't like how I feel on this. I felt like a zombie. You know, I tried some other natural, you know, St. John's wort or whatever for like depression and like anxiety, and like nothing really did anything. CBD was the first time I felt like my chest wasn't tight, if that makes sense. Like kind of just like you know how like you feel constricted. I just felt like I could take a breath and like relax a little bit, and it almost helped me learn how to relax. So what I tell people is like, you don't need to use CBD or CBG or stuff forever, right? Use it until the problems are solved and then stop using it. And if you want to keep using it, great. And if the problems come back, use it. And if you have symptoms, use it. But like, it's not like a medication where it's like, you got to take this Humira injection every single day for the rest of your life. It's like, that's not what we're doing with CBD.
Yeah. Yeah. So you obviously went through some tough times, some depression, and I've been through it myself.
Yeah. I think a lot of us have been through some tough times these days, especially, you know, I think we've had such a view of mental health, you know, in very specific realms. But I think, you know, there's a whole other side to mental health where it's like, you know, everybody is dealing with something at any given time. And I think a lot of mental health advocates like to put the spotlight on particular groups and like, we need to help this group. And I totally agree, we need to help this group, but we actually need to help all groups, right? Yeah. Everyone needs mental health help constantly, especially in the world we live in, and just social media and the you know, extraordinary fire that is our egos these days. They all need tamed and shown different ways to behave. So I don't know, Richard, you're smiling. Do you have anything you want to say about that?
No, I mean, I think you're absolutely correct. Like, I feel the same way. I think that mental health is so important, and we need to kind of focus on it as a whole. Our entire community of people around us are always struggling every day. You never know who's struggling, and especially with social media and our current social climate and the things that are going on, you know, it's more important than ever to check in. And so, yeah, no, I mean, I was just agreeing with everything that Jake was saying. We're on the same page here.
But I guess to really quickly answer the question, when I became passionate once it worked, right? Once I tried CBD and it worked, I was like, oh, this is something totally different. And I wanted to just, I mean, I don't want to sell something I don't know about. So I wanted to learn everything about it. And, you know, that kind of sparked an interest in just health and wellness. And that's where I became a certified nutritionist. I was like, I want to have like a credential that shows like I learned something, you know, and it's the NASM. It's an online program. Like anyone can take it. But, you know, taking it certifies you that you do know this nutrition knowledge. And, you know, I get hate on TikTok for that. Like, anyone can be a nutritionist. Anyone can be a doctor. Anyone can be a physician. Anyone can be a physicist. You have to just go do it. So, you know, I think it sparked the passion of like, wow, whatever this is works. Let's find out and how to make it better for everyone.
Perfect. Yeah, I've been, you know, big open networker. So I may have some connections that could help.
I always appreciate any connections.
Built
great.
multi-million-dollar vitamin supplement company. So
I really appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely.
Who were the greatest contributors to your character?
It's a good question. I think JD from Scrubs, the first like person. No. I watched a lot of TV growing up. I've always liked comedy. I've always liked jokes, and I think I use jokes and comedy has always kind of been my way to kind of move conversation forward and, you know, kind of be who I am. So I think a lot of influences when I was a kid were like, you know, just comedic television shows. But then as I grew up, you know, I think I had like someone I really respected in high school as a teacher that I looked up to and kind of really respected what he had to say. And then from there, I think the first like social media influence that was really heavy in my life was a guy named Alex Hormozy, just a really smart business developer, right? And just a really good guy. And like, I think everything I've seen from him has been helpful. And so I would say kind of the combination of like early comedic heroes into like kind of the youth pastory vibe of Alex Hormozy is kind of like the big contributors in my life.
Yeah. I guess he's seen some stuff in his day. So I've just kind of came across him past month or so.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you should read his book. It's really good. I'm not sponsored by Alex Hormozi. I just think he's great. Yeah.
So let's go into what's your best piece of advice for an audience that truly wants to better themselves or others in this lifetime?
Write down what that means. Like, write down in a notebook what that means. Like, whatever you want to do, whatever you think bettering yourself or others is, write that down. And then, like, look at it all the time and continuously write, like, how else you can do it and make it more specific and make it more unique to you. Like, we talk about SMART goals a lot during our podcasts. SMART being the acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. If you can make sure any goal you set is specific, right, like to you, measurable, so you know when it's done, achievable, so it's like you can actually do it. You're not trying to be like an astrophysicist, or something crazy, right, with one goal. Relevant, so like you actually want to do it. You're not like you're doing something you don't want to do. And time bound, you have like a timeline of when it has to be done. You can do anything. Like, literally, you can do anything if you use that structure, because that structure helps you to eliminate things that are not possible based on whatever you put in there. And then but I guess the main piece of advice is write it down. If you don't have it written down, it's just going to be gone.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a big advocate of writing myself. Write it down, get it down. What practices or techniques make your day a success?
Man, defining what success is what makes our days a success. I think there are so many days that I don't define success, and then I end up being frustrated and mad, and at the end of the day I'm like throwing stuff like, this was a horrible day, and I look at like sales, and the sales are great or something, and like what am I angry about specifically? Maybe it was a bad interaction or a bad something, but it's like, if you don't clearly define what does a successful day look like, you're never going to have them. So like, maybe a successful day is as simple as like taking a shower, working out, and like eating healthy. That could be your successful day. Maybe it's like, I want to write a chapter of my book. Maybe it's whatever, but just have a definition and make sure you stick to it.
Very good. Very good. Now, if you could interview 3 people, who would it be?
Ooh. I have my real answer and I have my TV answer. No.
Yeah.
I think I'd love to talk to Alex Hormozi. I think in person, one-on-one, would be fun, but I'm sure I can pay for that. I just can't afford him right now. I think it'd be really, really interesting to talk to Bill Gates. I would love to talk to Bill Gates and just kind of have a one-on-one. And then, I think the most fun final answer would be Joe Biden, have a one-on-one interview, me and Joey. But I think anyone would do. I'd do any final interview.
I really enjoyed your answers.
TV answer,
if you ever write a book or another book, what will it be about?
Well, I've written some guides on sleep health and general nutrition and all kinds of stuff like that. But I think it'd be really fun to have a book on like biological age. We're working on we have this new coaching program that is based on biological age markers. So like testing, specific biomarkers that reveal what your true age is, not your chronological age. And we use the chronological age scale 0 to 100 to kind of like determine that biological age. But, you could be 25 and have a biological age of like 35, or be 45 and have a biological age of like 32. You could be anywhere. So I think having a book about kind of how that works, the biomarkers, and how to get testing done would be really fun.
Good. Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people are starting to focus more on, where this was not something probably talked about, let's say 20 years ago or something.
Yeah.
It's more of a new market.
Absolutely.
Do you have a networking event, a book, product, invention, service for the audience to help promote? And
yeah, we have a Facebook group called the USA Medical Family on Facebook. Kind of the hub of everything we do is in that group. So if you're on Facebook, just search USA Medical Family. It's a private group, so we can kind of just talk freely and have a great communication. But just press join, I think, is the option. You press join, we'll see your invitation and we'll approve you right away. But yeah, we do, like I said, USA Medical is a big company at this point. We have lots of vitamins and supplements available. If you want to learn more about what would be specific to you, we have, like I said, that biological age test that we're doing, that you can get that. over at transformyounow.com. That's a U, not the word you, but transform the letter U now.com. We have the age test, which will match you to, specific supplements. We have a full coaching program, a 16-week program with me, working with you to reverse your age, and all kinds of other options there. So yeah, lots of stuff to do. But like I said, the easiest way to get a hold of me and be involved, just come join that free group on Facebook, USA Medical Family.
Very good. Yeah, I'll make sure that we add this in the comments below, and
perfect,
and add it on all channels.
Definitely, I appreciate that.
What is the best way for the audience to support your mission, get in contact?
Yeah, like I said, the Facebook group's perfect. If you just join that group, I'm in it every day. So anything you post, I'll see. I mean, we have awesome people in there, other experts who can help answer questions. So yeah, just join that group.
Okay. All right. I always hate this part, but that concludes the episode. And thank you for joining. If you'll stick around for a moment, we're going to exit.